Hey, welcome. Growing up is, well, it's one of the most exciting and, yeah, sometimes confusing journeys we all take. In this explainer, we're going to break down some of those big changes you might be noticing, making it all a bit easier to understand.
So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with a few key ideas, then jump into the physical and emotional stuff you might be feeling. We'll also take a look at how media plays a role in how we see ourselves, and wrap it all up by celebrating what makes you, your own skills and talents.
All right, first things first, let's get a handle on some of the big words that get thrown around. Once we're all on the same page with these, everything else is going to make a whole lot more sense.
Okay, let's kick things off with a big one. What exactly is adolescence? It's a word you hear all the time, but what does it really mean?
So, the most important thing to get is this. Adolescence isn't just one single moment. Think of it more like the entire road trip from being a kid to becoming an adult. It's the whole journey.
Okay, now for something that trips a lot of people up. We hear puberty and adolescence, and they kind of sound the same, right? But they're not. So what's the real difference?
I love this way of thinking about it. If adolescence is the whole movie about you growing up, then puberty is just one of the big action-packed scenes. Puberty is all about the physical changes, but adolescence, that's the whole story. Your feelings, your friendships, all of it.
So what's actually making all this stuff happen? Well, the science behind it all comes down to these tiny but super powerful things called hormones. Let's figure out what they are and what they do.
You can basically think of them like little text messages that your body sends out. They deliver instructions, saying things like, hey, time to grow taller, or let's switch things up a bit. They're the messengers that kickstart all the changes.
All right, so you've got these little chemical messengers working behind the scenes. But what does that actually feel like? How does it show up in your life?
Well, it really shows up in two main ways. First, there's the physical stuff you can actually see. You get taller, your body shape starts to change. And then there's the emotional side, the stuff you feel inside, like having really big feelings that are new or stronger than before.
Okay, so with all this change going on, it can feel like a lot. So the really big question is, what are the best ways to handle it all?
Okay, here are three really powerful things to keep in mind. First off, this is totally normal. Everyone goes through it, so you're not alone. Second, ask questions. Talk to adults you trust. And third, and this is so important, be respectful to your own body and to your friends who are going through it too. Now that we've got the basics covered, let's zoom in a little closer. What are some of the specific changes, both physical and emotional, that you can actually expect to notice?
So let's get really specific here. Can you think of, say, 5 common changes that tend to happen during this time? Let's take a look.
And these changes are, well, they're kind of all over the place. You've got the obvious ones like getting taller, your voice changing, and your body developing in new ways. But don't forget the emotional side, feeling new things or feeling old things a lot more strongly. It's all part of the package.
Right, so all these changes aren't happening in some bubble. We're surrounded by the outside world, especially what we see in the media. Let's talk about how that can affect how you see yourself.
This next one it's a really big deal, especially now. We all do it, right? We scroll through social media. We see what other people are up to. But why is comparing yourself to all that so harmful?
Here's the thing you absolutely have to remember. Social media is not real life. It's a highlight reel. You're comparing your everyday, normal life to someone else's most perfect, filtered, and edited moments. And that's just not a fair fight.
With all that pressure from the outside, it's super easy to forget what actually matters. So let's get crystal clear on this. What are the things that do not define your worth?
Look, things like your weight, your hair, the clothes you're into, that's all surface level stuff. It's part of you for sure, but it doesn't define your true value. Who you are inside, your kindness, your humor, your ideas, that's the real you.
So why is this time of life so sensitive when it comes to body image? What is it about puberty that makes it so easy to feel insecure sometimes?
You know what? It actually makes perfect sense when you think about it. Your body is changing so fast, it's totally normal to feel a little awkward or unsure. You're literally a work in progress, and it's okay for that to feel a little strange. Okay, so we've talked about the challenges. That's step 1. Now let's get into the good stuff, the solutions. What can you actually do to build a positive self-image?
And this isn't just about thinking positively. There are actual, real steps you can take to practice self-acceptance. Let's go through 5 of them.
This is like a perfect toolkit. It's about how you talk to yourself, embracing what makes you unique.
It's about who you hang out with, friends who lift you up, and it's about taking care of yourself inside and out.
Okay, so that list mentioned taking care of your body. Let's dig into that a little more. How can something like playing a sport or just being active actually help you feel better about your body?
This is such a game changer. When you're moving your body, your focus completely shifts. You stop worrying as much about how your body looks, and you start appreciating everything it can do. It makes you feel strong and capable. All right, another huge part of this is managing our screen time. We know that social media can be a trap, so let's talk about why taking a break is so powerful.
Honestly, it boils down to something really simple. Less time scrolling means more time living. It gives you a chance to focus on your own real life and your own real friends, instead of just watching someone else's highlight reel.
All right, let's get to our final section. A massive part of feeling good about yourself is celebrating what makes you, well, you. Let's talk about your skills and talents.
Okay, let's clear something up. We throw around these three words all the time: skills, abilities, and interests. They're all related, but they're not quite the same thing.
So here's the simple breakdown. Skills, those are things you learn how to do, like playing an instrument. Abilities, that's more like your natural talent, things you just have a knack for. And interests, well, that's just the stuff you love doing, what you're curious about.
Okay, so what happens when you find a skill you want to get good at? How do you actually improve and get better?
The answer is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. There's no secret. It just comes down to two key things: practice, you got to put in the time, and encouragement, both from other people and from yourself.
So as you prepare for your exam, remember that all these changes are part of your own amazing story. Your journey is uniquely yours, so embrace it. So I'll leave you with this. What's one skill or interest you're proud of today?